What's going on, YouTube? This is Darklight Dreamer coming at you with another Q&A video. Now, I hope you guys are having a good Thanksgiving. I know that you guys are going to see this video the day after Thanksgiving, but I'm actually recording this video on Thanksgiving, so I hope you guys managed to eat some great food, enjoy some great company, and just had a great day in general. I hope you guys are safe, because sometimes people run into incidents in their travels on Thanksgiving, but I hope you guys had a safe journey and, you know, just had a great day. I have so much that I'm thankful for this year personally. I'm so thankful for having the opportunity to start this YouTube journey with you guys. I've gotten so much more support than I thought I would for this channel, and I hope that we just continue to grow and grow. I'm so thankful for you guys. So thankful. You guys have no idea. Just for taking the time out of your days just to watch these videos. That means so much to me, and you know, for every like that you leave, for every comment, for every share, and just I love that you guys take the opportunity to just, you know, enjoy my content. So thank you guys so much. I'm thankful for all the friends and family that have supported me in this and just in my life in general. You know, my friends and family do so much for me. So thank you guys so much. I'm thankful for, you know, having this roof over my head, for you know, not having to be hungry. And I'm also thankful for being able to have all these things and all these opportunities that a lot of people in the world aren't able to have. So I'm super thankful for that. Remember that Thanksgiving is not just about the food or about the family. It's a time when we should stop to reflect on all the things that we're thankful for in our lives. So let me know down in the comments what you guys are thankful for this year for Thanksgiving. I would really be interested to know what is going on in your lives, just as much as I enjoy telling you guys what's going on in mine. Also, my very awesome nephew Darian's birthday was yesterday, and so I just want to take this opportunity to wish him a very, very happy belated birthday. I really hope you had a good one, Darian. We weren't able to see Darian for his birthday, unfortunately. He lives states away from us, so we don't get to see him very often. We love it when we're able to, but hopefully that'll change in the future. I love you, Darian. I hope that you had a really good birthday. Other than that, man, there hasn't really been a lot going on in my life. I've been playing a lot of World of Final Fantasy. I tried out that mobile game, Justice Monsters 5, which is supposed to be a mini-game in Final Fantasy 15. And, you know, it's the same game that you can play it, you know, a game within a game. It's gameception. So you can actually go to, you know, the arcade machines in Final Fantasy 15 and play this exact same game. You can also download it on your phones. I know that it's available for Android, but I'm not sure about iOS. So, you know, check that out. I'm not sure if it's going to have any effect on the game itself or anything like that, but it's just a fun little random game. It's called Justice Monsters 5. Also, you guys may have noticed I didn't actually post up a video on Wednesday, and that's by design, actually. I, you know, didn't want to post up a video on Thanksgiving Eve because I know that a lot of you guys are going to be busy with your families, getting to where you need to go, prepping for Thanksgiving dinner, and you guys probably aren't going to have a lot of time to sit down and watch YouTube videos. So I figured that it'd be better to just, you know, hold back until after Thanksgiving, and I'll start my regularly scheduled videos on today, on Friday. So, you know, back to regular, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday from here on out. I probably may take another break during Christmas, but I want to do something special for Christmas, but I'm not really sure what I want to do yet. Let me know if you have any recommendations down in the comments below, and I'll get right on that. But anyway, enough about what's going on in my life. You guys are here to hear some of the answers I have to some of the questions that you guys asked me in the last Q&A video that I posted up last Friday. So let's get started. Amira from the channel Couple of Geeks says, gaming in 20 years better have something like Sword Art Online VR, you know, without the imprisonment and death part. I totally agree. I actually really, really love the Sword Art Online series. A lot of people hate it for some reason. They say that it's a bad anime, but I really, really like it. I love the idea of being able to be pulled in full dive to a video game and experience this other world. I love how they incorporate all these like game mechanics in there and explain to you how the game actually works. And I think it really does a great job of making you feel like, it makes you think about what you would do in this situation. Would you level up as much as possible, as hard as possible, and try to push to fight monsters and risk your life trying to help other people escape from the game? Or would you settle in and try to live out your life in this game as best as you possibly can by, you know, becoming a smith or an innkeeper or whatever, and, you know, live out like this as your normal reality? And a lot of people in it, you know, deal with the situation of not being able to distinguish this from reality after a while. So I think this executes that concept the best out of all the series I've seen that try to do the being trapped in a video game excuse me, being trapped in a video game thing. So, I don't know. I really like it. I don't know why a lot of people don't. So, that's my opinion on that. She says if Nintendo carries on like they are, they won't exist in 20 years, in my opinion. They really need to learn how to evolve. She asks, what is your favorite anime? Well, my favorite anime, bar none, is the Fate Stay Night series. I really, really love it. As you guys know, I love magic, and that's what really drew me to this anime at first, is that it highly revolves around magic and the magi, having different kinds of magic. I love the concept of the servants, how there's one of each class, you know, being that I love Final Fantasy, I really am familiar with all the, like, RPG type classes, and in Fate Stay Night, all the servants are, there's one of the Saber class, one of the Lancer class, the Caster class, the Rider class, the Berserker class, the Archer class. So, it's really cool. I love that concept. I love that how all the servants are legends or epic heroes from stories, or from, you know, they in this world they actually existed at one point in time, but when they died and became epic spirits, their deeds were kind of like bolstered, and they kind of became the living embodiment of those legends. So, I always thought that was really, really cool, that concept. I'm a big fan of Saber and all the different variations of Saber. I love the characters, Rin, and all that. And not just Fate Stay Night, but the Fate Zero series is really good, although it's a little more gruesome than Fate Stay Night. And the Unlimited Blade Works series, not the movie, you can throw the movie right out the window, but the Unlimited Blade Works series is really, really good. I got chills towards the end whenever it was Shiro versus Archer. So, definitely, if you guys haven't watched that already, I 100% recommend it. Check that anime out. It's definitely my favorite of all time. David Christopher comments, very well spoken at the end, my brother. Thank you very much, David, for all your support. I really appreciate it. I want to share something with you guys about me. Growing up, I had to deal with a lot of prejudice and hate for several reasons, one of which was my race, because I'm Asian, so going to school I had a lot of racist things said to me, like ching chong bing bong, a lot of, like, just very stereotype Asian things. A lot of people would call my mom's restaurant and ask if we serve dog and things like that. I got teased a lot because I was a nerd, because of my religion. I got teased for a lot of different reasons. And I really hated that, because in my heart, I only judge people based on one thing, and that's just how much of an asshole are you. I don't care what your religion or what your color is or anything like that. All I care about is who you are as a person. So I hate, it really burns me up to see people just hating each other and quarreling over things that don't matter in life. So thank you very much. I'm glad that you support me in that. Now, David Christopher is a musical artist, and he's a good friend of mine. He has a lot of talent, guys. He has a great voice. He's got powerful lungs, but his words come out buttery smooth whenever he's singing. And he deserves to be a lot bigger than he is. Right now, he's very small time and doesn't have a lot of followers. And I would really appreciate if you guys would check him out. He may not be doing the kind of music that you're into, but even if not, please do me a favor, check him out and support him anyway, because I think he has a lot of talent and deserves to be a lot bigger than he is. So I'm going to leave some links down below to his Facebook page and his YouTube channel. So do me a favor, please check him out, support him if you can find it in your heart to do so. I would very, very much appreciate it. Rydexon from the channel Couple of Geeks says, how dare you put Final Fantasy VIII into the lowest group? My heart is breaking. I'm sorry about that, Rydek. I really am. I just could not get over the magic system, the draw and junction system. I hated it so much. The storyline was confusing to me toward the end. I don't know if it's confusing to a lot of people, but with all the time loops and everything, it was hard for me to follow. And I did read some fan theories that make more sense, with the whole Renoa becoming Ultimecia thing, but you have to kind of infer that from what they give you. So just playing through the story, it was a little bit confusing. Even though I read at the bottom of the list, though, that doesn't mean that I hate the game or anything. I actually did really enjoy a lot of things about the game. I loved the summons, I loved the gunblade system, and all the little character systems that they had that were unique to them in combat that made each character stand out. Quizzes, blue magic, etc. I did really like the romance between, not the main characters, which I liked their romance too, but I really liked Laguna's romance with the singer. It was heartbreaking, the story, but it was a really sweet story. And I thought it was one of the best love stories in the Final Fantasy series. And the song that the singer wrote for Laguna's Eyes on Me is one of my favorite Final Fantasy songs of all time. So there are things I did really enjoy about the game. But moving on from that, he says, loving your series, brother. Amir and I can't get enough of them. I'm really glad you guys watch those and are enjoying those so much. I can't get enough of them. Great way to chill down and relax after a hard day. His question is... Keep hitting comment. My question is, what is the best present that anyone has ever bought you? Oh man, you guys always ask me such hard questions, especially you. This one took a lot of thought, because that's a lot of Christmases and birthdays and such to think about, and just random presents over the years. I have to say one of the best presents anyone has ever bought me was a long time ago whenever I was in middle school. My brother had another group of friends in high school, and I always tried to be, like, part of the cool kids, right? I always tried to hang out with his group, even though I was younger, more immature. But I always tried to hang out with them, and always try to be part of their group. And they all kind of wore the same, like, outfit scheme. They weren't really a gang, per se, but they kind of acted like a gang in a sense, you know? That sense of family, that sense of unification. So they all wore a similar color scheme. They had a uniform. So it was black slacks, black shoes, a white undershirt, and a black button-up over that, a collar button-up. And so they all wore this whenever they were, whenever they were engaging in any kind of group thing. So I always wanted to be part of that group. So one birthday or Christmas, I don't remember which one it was. I want to say it was Christmas. I was given a small box. And when I unwrapped it, it was like a ring box, and I opened it up, and it was just a scrap of paper that had a riddle written on it. And when I solved this riddle, it led me to a location in the house, and I'd find a box with one part of my present in it. And whenever I followed the trail of riddles to find all of the things, it was all parts of their uniform, and at the very end, I was able to find my first blade. It was the very first sword I was ever given. It was, oh god, what was it called? It was, oh, I remember. It was called Fang. It was a one-handed sword. I think it was a short sword, but it was perfect size for me. And it was the very first sword I was ever given. So it meant a lot to me, and it kind of solidified, this uniform plus the blade kind of solidified me as part of their group. So it meant a whole crap load to me. It was a very special gift. So it definitely holds a special place in my heart. Another Christmas, or no, I think this one was for my birthday. I was given a hand-painted, hand-designed box just for me by my brother. He went to a craft store, bought a sliding box. It was for my tarot cards. I think that's why I kept it in mostly at first. It was for my tarot cards and a few other things of my more occulty type things that I kept in this box. So he painted it dark purple with black outlines, and it had a white tiger on it, and it had my name on it. It was a really, really nice box, and it wasn't anything expensive or anything like that, but he put a lot of thought and effort into crafting this just for me. So it's probably one of the best gifts that I ever got. Freak from the channel Frost and Fist asks, what about Eldar first attracted you to that race in Warhammer 40k? Definitely, as you guys know, I'm a huge lover of magic, and Eldar are definitely the most mystic of all the races in Warhammer 40k. They have a very high specialization in their psychic powers and all their powers of farsight and things like that. They have runes. All of the vehicles in there are awesomely sleek and streamlined, and I really like that. So, yeah, that's definitely what attracted me to Eldar in the first place in Warhammer 40k. Das Rock Kushranada, he says, how did I never get the Bob reference? Oh, the Gunhwar reference comes from the Legend of Driss series. Gunhwar is Driss' magical panther. I still have yet to read that series. I hear it's really good, but I really need to get on that. He says, also, I have finally come up with some questions. It only took about 5 Q&A videos. Listening to your accounts of your favorite RP moments, I started to wonder, who other than yourself has put on such a convincing role that touched you in your heart during an RP? I had several of those moments in RPs that I've played in, but one of the big ones that first comes to mind is, if you guys remember me talking about it in the last Q&A video I did, Wolf Brother Mythos ran a game called Storm Chasers, and in it, he had an NPC in there he named Tiberius, who was like the guardian of the planet, trying to prevent the worm from awakening and defending the planet against the dark forces of the worm. It's the same RP where I played the pyrokinetic named Styx, and he kind of brought my character into the fold, and kind of took him under his wing and brought all these other, misfits together to work to protect the Earth with him. And there was a huge sense of camaraderie in this. He definitely was the leader. He gave us that sense of like brotherhood. My character, I think, saw Tiberius as kind of not only a brother but also kind of a father to him. It was a family that he never had. We kind of, by the end of the series, kind of all saw each other as one big family. And at one point, Tiberius sacrificed his life for us, and I was just devastated when that happened, especially because people say as an actor you kind of pay a price, and I think that happens in RP as well. It's an emotional price because you put yourself in the shoes of this character. You try to embody everything that character is, try to feel what that character feels and everything, and so you get those emotional connections with characters. So when they die, it's like, it's just devastating to you because you feel like almost like somebody actually died. So it was very sad. It's definitely probably one of the moments in RP that touched me the most emotionally. That's definitely the big one that comes to mind. But he asks more than just that question. He says, one more thing. You said that Final Fantasy IX was an underrated Final Fantasy game. This is the first one I was ever exposed to, thanks Sana for me. What are your thoughts on the story? I really loved Final Fantasy IX story for the most part. I love that it was very centric on the summons, how they were a big deal, the Eidolons of the series, about the main bad guy Kuja, who's one of my favorite villains of all time, trying to extract the Eidolons from Princess Garnet and from Aiko, and trying to use their power to dominate the world. I mean, that Bahamut versus Alexander fight, how badass was that, right? So I love the story for the most part. I definitely loved the Garnet-Zidane romance. I love how Zidane was a very different kind of protagonist. He was a master thief, which is very different from a lot of the Final Fantasy protagonists. A lot different from a lot of protagonists in general. Instead of being just that pillar of good, that knight character, Zidane's morals were a little more gray, even though he had a really big heart and everything. And usually he stole for good reasons and everything, but the fact that the main character was kind of a mischievous master thief and he was kind of trolly and everything, I really liked that. And he wasn't all just, he was in love with Garnet, but he didn't just pour his heart out to her or anything. He definitely trolled the shit out of her a lot of times. The only thing about Final Fantasy IX story that got me was at the very end, after you beat Kuja, you have to fight Necron, and Necron, he's the final boss of the game, but there's no mention of Necron at all in the entire story of the game. You're just kind of thrown into this random boss fight. He's like, he announces himself as like the destroyer of worlds or some shit like that, and you have no idea where he came from, just random bad guy. And it was an epic fight and everything, but it's like, what was his reason for being in the story? And I've read fan theories that like dive a little bit more into it, that he's like the embodiment of all of Kuja's resentment, and was a necessary add-on to the story because defeating him kind of was kind of like defeating Kuja's bad side. But they didn't show Kuja at the end. Did he live, I wonder? Zidane kind of ran off to save him, but it didn't really show whether he was actually saved or not. But anyway, the ending is the only thing that kind of confused me about Final Fantasy IX. I love the game for the most part, other than that. It's also in Terra when you find out more about Zidane and Kuja and the Reapers and all that. So, I don't know. Let me know what you thought about Final Fantasy IX's story down below. He has a third question, I believe. He says, one more thing, what is your favorite alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage? It's probably because I'm drinking that I asked this. I have a lot of drinks that I like. As far as non-alcoholic drinks go, I drink a lot of Mountain Dew, and I know that's kind of cliche for gamers, but I work a third shift job. Sometimes it's hard for me to stay awake and I need that extra punch of caffeine. My kidneys probably hate me by now, but I drink a crap ton of Mountain Dew. It's an addiction that I've weaned myself off of so many times and come back to it. Yeah, it's bad. The addiction is bad. As far as alcoholic beverages go, if I'm just trying to get drunk, I drink a lot of Cuba Libres or Vodka Libres, vodka and Coke or rum and Coke. I can down them pretty quickly, but as far as like my favorite ones go, the ones that I like the most, I was recently introduced to White Russians, and I really love White Russians. My friend introduced me to White Russians while we were watching The Big Lebowski. I feel like that was a little necessary, so he kind of introduced me to both things at the same time, so that was pretty neat. Yeah, those are the main ones that I can think of. So I know that a lot of you guys have played Final Fantasy VII, and if you guys remember, in Cosmo Canyon, there's a specialty drink of Cosmo Canyon. It's called the Cosmo Candle. And I use that drink as a reference in, like, every one of the RPs I've ever done. It's in there somewhere as, like, an Easter egg or whatever. People will go up to inns and ask what drinks are on special, and the Cosmo Candle is always one of the specials or whatever. I reference the Cosmo Candle at least once in every RP that I've done. But I've always wondered what actually goes into a Cosmo Candle as a mixed drink. So if you guys have any idea of what you would put in a drink called a Cosmo Candle, let me know in the comments down below. Wolf Brother Mythos from the channel Frost and Fist says, another fantastic episode, my brother. Thank you very much, Mythos. I'm glad you're enjoying the series. For next week, I've heard in some darkened common rooms of some back alley taverns that Darklight Dreamer has actually been a talented martial artist back in his dates. It's funny that he says it that way because you guys know he's my brother, so he definitely knows that he says like he heard rumors in back alley taverns. But anyway, share with us a bit of your favorite fighting styles hand-to-hand, and then 3 of your favorite weapon types, and what is your particular style when using them. After all, the way that Kenshin uses a katana is different from Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur. Lately, what character from any anime or video game would you like to emulate? As always, much love and stay frosty, my brother. Man, that is a long and difficult set of questions, so I'm going to start at the very beginning. Back in the day, whenever I studied martial arts, the very first stance that I actually learned and practiced and tried to master was snake stance. And the reason being is that you guys know that I fight in a more defensive kind of way. I like to wait for them to strike and then block and counter. Snake stance was a very counter-heavy type stance, or type form. So what you would do is you would kind of block with one hand and then strike with either that same hand in similar motion or with your opposite hand. And I actually used to like tap on metal sheets and stuff with the tips of my fingers to try to strengthen my fingertips, so that way when you do a throat jab in snake stance, it hit harder. Of course, I practice, the strength of my punches and everything as well. But it's a lot of you roll away their blows and then counter with another solid blow, like a snake coiling back and then striking. So I really enjoyed that stance. I also practiced dragon stance a lot for when I wanted to be a little more aggressive, a little more power heavy. So that one is also a very counter heavy stance, but that one was a little more punishing. Whenever you would deflects people's blows, it was a little more ruthless whenever you countered with a more heavy hand. So those are the 2 that I practice the most hand-to-hand. So on my list of preferred weapons, the most favored weapon that I tend to use is actually a straight-bladed katana, which a lot of people would call that a ninjato, but I don't like to use your traditional ninja-style blades that you tend to see. I like to use ones with a katana-type guard and handle, maybe with a little bit of more of an elongated handle, and the katana-type blade, but shorter and straight-bladed instead of long and curved like you traditionally see a katana have. And the reason being is I love the maneuverability of that kind of blade. I tend to use a more counter-heavy style whenever I sword fight, so I love having the maneuverability where I can dodge and counter. Whenever I sword fight, I tend to utilize a style that I call shadow walking, where I gauge the reach of my opponent and try to stay just outside of their reach, so that way I give them the illusion that they're able to hit me, and when they swing, I tend to either be just outside of their range or just take a small step sideways or backwards and stay in a position where I can counter them. And having a blade with a lot of maneuverability is important to me, because that way whenever I dodge, I can quickly get in that strike. And a straight-bladed katana also it flows very well with the types of swings I tend to use. So that's why it is my favored type of weapon. My second most preferred weapon type is actually a rapier, and it's not an épée like a lot of people are probably thinking. Like, it's not like a long thin blade that like wobbles. A rapier tends to be a thin solid blade with a handguard and everything, and I really like to use that as well for a similar reason as a straight bladed katana. It offers me a lot of maneuverability. It's a quick blade used for a lot of counter blows. I've actually practiced a lot of like fencer stances and strikes, and it segues very well into my fighting style, so that's why it's my second most favorite weapon. My third, I've practiced a lot with staves, and I prefer to use a staff. Theoretically, though, I use a staff a lot like a spear, and theoretically, what I would prefer is to use a naginata, because not the naginatas that have like a big broad blade at the very end that would be heavy, but the thin elongated curved bladed naginatas. So you'd use that a lot like a spear, but instead of just jabbing motions, you have the ability to slash with it. And since that's kind of how I use staves anyway, theoretically, it would segue very well into using a naginata. So I think that would be my third most preferred weapon. So the last part of his question is, what character from any anime or video game would I like to emulate? And I don't know if you mean like fighting style because of the previous questions or just personality, but I'm going to answer both sides of that. As far as personality goes, the one that comes to mind is I would really like to emulate Yu Narukame from Persona 4, just because he's able to connect with people so easily, and his friends mean so much to him, and he has all this heart to give to so many people, and always tries to do the right thing. And I would really like to emulate Yu Narukame in that sense. Or whatever you name the protagonist of Persona 4, but I really like his personality. As far as fighting style goes, I really like Makenshi from Final Fantasy Unlimited. The way he uses a blade, but also uses all this magic and everything. The powers of the Mist Village he came from. He's one of my favorite anime characters of all time, Makenshi. But as far as like more realistically, like sword fighting style, I love Assassin from Fate Stay Night. I love the way he uses a katana, and I would really like to be able to emulate his fighting style if I possibly could. He has a very counter-heavy but ruthless and effective sword fighting style, so I really like Assassin from Fate Stay Night. Idic Beer says, "Nice video, pal. I think things are going to get very exciting as VR gets better and better. I'm no gamer, but I am wondering what makes a good gamer, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how good would you say you are at it? Stay excellent, mate." Wow. How do you define what a good gamer is? I think there's a lot of ways you can be a good gamer. I think you could be a purely skilled gamer, like an FPS game, being able to get all the headshots easily, do all the trick shots. I think that you can show pure skill in a game. Even in platformers, like being able to get through a level easily without falling into traps, having a lot of control of your character. I think you can have be a good gamer and have like that good deductive mind. Like, instead of just pure skill, like being able to solve problems in a game, easily solve puzzles, figure out how to get out of situations, and I think being a good gamer also means you have a lot of persistence and patience, being able to take the time to figure things out without getting frustrated. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a gamer would I say I am? I really am bad at self-critical things. I tend to rate myself lower. I think I'm probably a good 6 or 7, if 5 is the average gamer. I think I'm a little bit higher than the average gamer, but I'm definitely no pro. I'll preface that in any of my Let's Play videos. I am definitely no pro. I get lost easily. I'm not a very skilled gamer, but I do tend to have a lot of persistence, and I've sat down and I'll just grind and grind and grind for hours and weeks, and I tend to approach things in a very analytical way. Maybe not as much in my Let's Play videos because I try to get through it for you guys. I don't want to stop and take the time to try to analyze the situation as much as I want to rush in, and I think that's good for reactions too for you guys, because if I'm rushing in headstrong, I think it's definitely going to elicit stronger reactions from me. But usually I kind of sit back and analyze the situation, and I think I'm pretty good at that aspect of problem solving. But as far as pure skill goes, I am not a skilled gamer at all. I think that'll reflect in a lot of my videos. So yeah, I think that's where I would rate myself. Alright, I think that's all the questions that I have from you guys to answer for this week. If you guys have any more questions, please do not hesitate to drop those questions down in the comment section below, and I will get to answering those questions for next week's Q&A Friday video. Thank you guys so much for asking your questions. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button down below. It really means a lot more to me, you guys know. Do me a favor, drop a comment or 10 too. I really love getting your comments, even if they're not questions. I love hearing from you guys. I just love chatting with you guys. It's one of the best parts of my day. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, you guys know that I'd love to have you guys as a member of the Darklight family, and I hope that we'll continue this YouTube journey together again very, very soon. And until then, may your dreams light your darkest hour, and I'll see you next time.